So this week we're looking to get the mid-season update for Warzone and Vanguard. While on the Vanguard side of things, we're likely to get a new weapon and a map, on the Warzone side of things, there's a lot more questions than answers. Obviously, our things like the Titans and the crossover with Godzilla and Kong will be going away, or so we think, but what else lies beneath the surface? Today I want to run down a handful of changes coming that are pretty substantial and a few things that likely could just be right around the corner. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Like anything we discuss, think there's some good changes, dislike any of them. What would you like to see happen in Warzone? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoy the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. As well, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all things Warzone, Modern Warfare 2, and anything COD related. We've got quite an exciting next few weeks here coming up, so if you'd like to stay on top of all of that, I'd love to have you. And finally, my friends at G Fuel have bumped up code espresso to 30% off once again in anticipation of Season 3 Reloaded, so if you guys want to check anything out in regards to a restock, trying something out for the very first time, now is as best a time as any. It'll save you a decent bit of cash, and I don't think my code will be 30% off until sometime next month again. So I'd highly recommend Hype Sauce, Pink Trip, the new Morbius Nectarine flavor, Starfruit, and Strawberry Banana. Can't go wrong with any of those, but if you're interested, links in the description below. That said, let's jump into it. So like we said, this upcoming week is by all accounts looking to be the mid-season update. If you need any convincing, while not explicitly stated here, our weekly schedule of playlists doesn't go further than this week, which is usually our first sign of an update on the horizon. Raven usually does playlist previews up until when another update would come out. Next, we have a double XP event slated for this upcoming weekend, those usually following new content updates when in mid-season as well, when those new additions are added in to incentivize players to further jump on. And number 3, the timing of it just all makes sense for a lot of reasons. Right now, it's the middle of the season, but upcoming is going to be a big focus for Modern Warfare 2. Right now, that's rumored to be starting reveals and teasers as of next month, with a full-on reveal around June 8th and gameplay coming at Summer Games Fest on the 9th. So if that's the case, we won't be seeing any content updates go out around that same time, giving full attention to that. So logically, the only gap that fits here as a mid-season emphasis is this upcoming week, and also to the midpoint of the season. So while we're likely saying goodbye to Godzilla and Kong, we don't quite know what content perhaps is coming outside of that in terms of like map changes or anything like that, but there is quite a few things that we can talk about that are quality of life changes, gameplay experiences, and things that will be changing with Season 3 Reloaded in that regard. And kind of starting out to bridge that gap, this one's a bit more trivial, but it's a segue that's nice from the whole Godzilla and Kong part, is that the seasonal bundles that we ended up getting here with that, the Operation Monarch ones of Kong, Godzilla, and Mecha Godzilla, with Season 3 Reloaded, if you ended up picking up all 3 of those, you'll end up getting an additional free Owen Gun blueprint that will be granted to players. It's being kind of treated as a bonus here for that. I think you've got 2 of the 3 bundles, it gives you a calling card, and then 3 of 3 will give you that Owen Gun blueprint. Right now, there's no preview of what this actually looks like, if it's going to be something that's a good build or anything like that, but it was mentioned this will be coming in Season 3 Reloaded. So a sort of kind of pre-order, I guess. We've seen a lot of time-gated rewards as of late. I mean, the CDL viewership rewards, and so on and so forth. But that's the first thing you can expect with Season 3. Again, bit more trivial, but one of the big things that was recently announced here coming with Season 3 Reloaded is the Xbox Series S and X support for 120 Hz finally being fixed. That was something that has been a long time coming, and if you followed any of the socials for Call of Duty, Raven, whatever the case, that was basically on every single tweet for months here asking for fixes on that, and rightfully so. Obviously, it's something that you want to optimize your performance here for it. You want to take advantage of that hardware utilization, but it just wasn't available. That was something that we talked about this with Raven, I think pre-season 2 even, where we had a briefing where they mentioned this, but they pointed out that it was a Microsoft hardware issue, something actually not optimized with the console itself. So seemingly by a firmware update or something like that, this has now been taken care of, and it is something that Raven is no longer waiting for Microsoft to do anything about this. They can finally now apply that fix, and players on Xbox Series S and X should be able to take advantage of that full 120 Hz support once the mid-season update rolls around. So that's phenomenal. I'm very excited for my Xbox friends here. Playing at 120 Hz or more is definitely an entirely game-changing experience. If you're playing on a regular TV or just a 60 Hz monitor, if you ever decide to make that upgrade, I'm telling you, it will just feel smooth as butter at that point. So nice to see that finally fixed out and ironed out. Now, the rest of these discussed items here are going to be coming from a pre-Season 3 briefing that a few days before the launch of Season 3, myself and a handful of other creators and press sat in a call with Ted Timmons and JJ Williams of Raven Software, where they described the coming content from Godzilla and Kong, all the way down to technical aspects. Now, a lot of that call detailed things coming with Season 3, but they did talk a little bit about the future in there, to which they talked about some stuff that isn't quite as publicly known here in regards to upcoming changes with Season 3 Reloaded and beyond. Now, one of the biggest ones here that I'm very much so excited for is audio improvements adjustments for Footsteps. This is something that was initially meant to be launched with Season 3, but as of this pre-briefing with Season 3, we learned that unfortunately it got delayed a little bit to the next update, which is Season 3 Reloaded now at this point. So the target date here on this is going to be something that comes as of this week, but it should be something that helps out ambient occlusion, directional recognition, and all other factors that go into Footsteps. Right now, it's still very bugged, very problematic in terms of Warzone, where you could hear footsteps, but in all reality, that could be something that they're 3 floors above you, they could be right around the door from you, they could be anywhere, but it's not as accurate as it should be. So tackling things like ambient occlusion will make it so that footsteps 3 floors up are muffled more than just 1 floor up, or right around a corner will sound different from somebody just over a hillside. So with these audio adjustments, while they haven't quite explicitly stated everything that will be coming along with it, it should hopefully give more accuracy in being able to recognize when an enemy is pushing you, from where, and how far they actually are. So that is a big change that I'm very much so looking forward to, and of course, being that it has been talked about for so long, I'm excited to see this actually come into play. Now, we also learned that we'll end up getting a brand new perk within Warzone here with Season 3 Reloaded, that being the perk of Serpentine. Now, I say brand new, but really only in the sense of Warzone, because Serpentine actually exists in Vanguard. Now, Serpentine as a perk will allow you to, when regularly sprinting, slowly reduce the damage from ballistics and explosives, while tactical sprinting will cut the damage down by more than a quarter of its normal value. So, a really interesting concept to integrate into Warzone and Battle Royale. I don't know that I quite see this as much in Vanguard when I jump on. I'm going to be totally honest with you, haven't jumped on Vanguard for quite some time outside of the seasonal launch, so maybe I'm just missing it whenever I'm jumping on, but we'll have to see how this actually is implemented, what tier it actually is placed in of tier 1, 2, and 3, what kind of competition you'll have to have in terms of picking your perks, and what may be prioritized over it. So we'll see how that all comes into play, but very interesting to see that we will get new perks as time rolls on. And then finally, in regards to confirmed fixes here with this, we will see further fixes to gas masks. Now, one of the big things that they stated here as the Season 3 update was that the gas mask should no longer interrupt players that are falling or jumping from a rooftop or something like that, where you have to pull your chute. Previously, you'd end up having that parachute pulling mechanic interrupted by pulling the gas mask down over your face, meaning that you just fall to your death. Now, this is something that I think is just going to be ironed out more with Season 3 Reloaded. They claim this was fixed here with Season 3, but I've actually had it happen a couple of times since then, so it is something that may just not be 100% all of the time working as intended. So we'll see how that all works out. Now, to round out this video, I want to talk about a few things that I think are possible, because there are things that were mentioned as later date things coming in the future, but could very well make sense to be coming with Season 3 Reloaded. Number 1, perks coming to Rebirth Island, as in those lootable perks. If you're not really big into Caldera, you might not really notice this too much in terms of gameplay, but in Caldera, you can loot the perks of Battle Hardened, Engineer, High Alert, Restock, Tempered, Quick Fix, Scavenger, and in Plunder, Point Man. So realistically, you could end up being a super soldier with 6, 7, 8 perks at a time on top of what you have from your loadout. So that is something that I have, even in Caldera, with quicker releases of your free loadouts. I've gone to my loadout to get my weapons with already 4 or 5 and sometimes even 6 perks active as is. So it is something that allows you to basically loot specialist if you're incredibly lucky, but it's something that was not applied to Rebirth just yet. Ted Timmons did mention that this was going to be coming at some point later on down the line for Rebirth, but didn't give any time frame here at this. Given that we've kind of seen the last season and a half or so try and change the gameplay feel for both Caldera and Rebirth, but they're kind of staggered in that regard, it is possible we may be able to see Rebirth coming up to par at that point. So we may see those perks actually coming in loot boxes, which would definitely be interesting. And another thing that may be bringing up to speed with Rebirth is the potential of 300 HP coming to Rebirth as well. 300 HP is the norm in Caldera, but for right now in Rebirth, it's only 250 HP, which makes for some odd shifts in engagements and in terms of meta, weapon builds, and things like that if you're going back and forth. It wasn't stated at any specific time that we would see this shift, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if it does come with Season 3 Reloaded. Now, outside of that, 2 other things here that I'm going to talk about is one that was seen with Season 3's update and then subsequently was scrubbed from the game entirely. That being, if you guys jumped on to Warzone right on day 1 of Season 3, there was zombies camo support, kind of, within Warzone. You ended up having on the Vanguard weapons, Golden Viper visible, but not unlocked for anybody here with this. So that was, to some people, all indications that we'd be getting in the next update following, or maybe Season 4, Zombies camos from Vanguard available in Warzone for those Vanguard weapons. Now, we did see this happen with Black Ops Cold War, where Zombies camos were not introduced until, I want to say, Season 4.5 or Season 5, like that. But it was something that there was a definite long-term delay here from when you'd be able to use the multiplayer camos versus zombies camos. So it's already been staggered right now. We don't currently have that zombie support, but it could very well be coming. And finally, the last thing that I'm curious to see if we get pulled over and continue on is the high-value loot zones. That was a big and, I think, nice addition from the Operation Monarch LTM, where you could drop back in and end up getting loot at these certain defined points per game, even if you were late into the game. It gave an ability to regain on every single match, which was awesome. It was a nice way to approach the meta, and of course, being that they were high-value loot zones, there was the possibility of even better loot that you could find. Plus, they'd restock. So I would very much so like that to happen, but those last four, again, possible, not guaranteed. The other ones before that, though, look to actually be happening. But that's where we're going to wrap it up. I want to fill you guys in here before we round into this upcoming weekend, all that will be upcoming. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you guys hope to see some of the things that we talked about as possible? Do you hope they come into the game? Or are you guys looking forward to the confirmed changes here coming in Season 3 Reloaded? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, all things Modern Warfare 2 here very soon, and anything COD related. I'd love to have you in the community. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.